Hey everybody, Thomas here again with another Mosaic training video. Today, just going to do a quick one going over the results of this latest power phase in the linear periodization. And this will be a quick one, and then I'll do a separate video going over the full kind of results of the training plan itself. Okay, so when we went through the power training plan, we were thinking that the assessment after this phase would hopefully be the highest in terms of the scores. Hopefully everything kind of culminated in this one peaking phase. In addition to that, things like the kilter board benchmarks that I set for myself, hopefully some of those would go down. Some outdoor projects might go down, and generally just feeling better in terms of climbing. So going over, first let's just go over the assessment, because that'll be kind of a good framework to work in. Okay, so you can see by the numbers here that there was a bit of a mixed result in terms of the hanging. My three finger hangs felt a little bit better this time, and finally my micro crimp 6mm hangs had a better number. This one's a bit weird just because I've been having trouble with them in the assessment itself. When I was in the strength phase, I got plenty of hangs of like 9 and 10 seconds, so even this is a bit low. So it's a bit misleading, but it was good to actually get one on the books here. The 45-degree sloper hang, again, I still feel like my Beastmaker is just not seasoned enough. Whenever I try them in the gym, I can hold it for, 4, 5, 6 seconds sometimes. So something I'm doing, I gotta figure out how to fix that. But in terms of some of the more upper body strength focused things like the front lever, one arm, and 90-degree lock-off stuff, I noticed those felt worse, and kind of worse across the board, as you can see. And we'll kind of go over it a little bit more in the kind of overall training plan. I don't know, the review at the end, but I definitely felt like even in this 4-week period, I was losing a bit of those strength gains because I wasn't focused on them anymore. In terms of the power things, those I were getting a decent amount of progress on. So here I have the 1.5x, I have a 7 plus. I was definitely getting to 7.5 on one hand, and I was like, a quarter of an inch from getting it on my slightly weaker hand. But there were workouts during the power phase where I was getting 7.5 pretty consistently. So those I do feel like I made progress, even if the numbers didn't show it quite as much as I was hoping. The 1x1, those are the ones where you go from 1, up as high as you can and then back down on the medium rungs. Definitely made progress there. At first, going up to 5 felt pretty desperate, mostly on the coming back down to 1. But from after this power phase, it felt a little bit better, a little bit easier to make that contact strength. And then my stretching has been getting better. Finally, the forward fold has been improving steadily. I haven't been focusing too much on the straddle, so it's not terribly surprising that it went down a little bit, but I need to work on that a little bit more. Okay, so in terms of the results, we can kind of go through the other parts of that, of the measurements. So benchmarks, I haven't really been doing much kilter boarding. I tried them as part of the assessment, and they did feel better, especially the contact strength ones, but nothing really was outstandingly easy, after this whole thing. Outdoor projects, I haven't been bouldering a huge amount outside. I've actually been sport climbing a bit more. And this is kind of, I don't really like climbing in this summertime when it's hot. So it's more of a time thing than, me actually feeling stronger. That's more the reason that things haven't been making much progress on the projects. But now that the weather might be getting a bit cooler, hopefully I can get out more. In terms of the gym climbing, I definitely feel like there are a lot more problems that I get on where there's a move that I kind of go into the move assuming that I'm going to fall. Like in the middle of the move, it feels hard. But I wound up pulling it out of the bag. And it was kind of across the board in terms of styles. A lot of really crimpy, slabby stuff has felt easier, as well as overhanging things. So that's kind of good. It's always nice to have that moment of surprise that you actually do something that you sort of assume you're not strong enough to do. So anyway, the that part of the assessment, the more like climbing specific ones, unfortunately, I've been bad about keeping on that stuff. So it's more of a fault of my motivation than actually showing the progress there. But going back to sort of the takeaways from this portion of the training plan, it definitely felt like a much better balance was struck. I had a lot more time to just climb and work on my movement and my technique and everything. The workouts didn't take nearly as long, and partially because I don't have that many power specific weight room type workouts in my arsenal. I was relying quite heavily on like campusing, which is as closer to climbing specific than many of the other things that we were doing in the strength phase. So that was kind of nice. And after the my kind of clear textbook finger overtraining, where my results from my hangboarding were just kind of steadily going down during the strength phase, I did back off a little bit and modified the plan at the last minute just to make sure that I had a bit more time to recover. And to be honest, I'm kind of curious if I'm still feeling the effects of that overtraining for this assessment, specifically on these hanging, the one-arm hang type workouts that I've been doing. They've just felt like I haven't had that same strength. And again, I'm spouting excuses left and right here, but I have definitely noticed that surprisingly, or to my surprise, I guess, conditions make play a much bigger role than I thought. There are a couple of times during the strength phase where I felt amazing. I could hold on to that thing forever, and it was looking really good. And then after that, I noticed it got a little bit hotter again. Even I'm down here in a basement. It shouldn't be that much difference, but my skin condition made more of an impact than I thought. I don't know if other people have this, but my hands are a mess right now because I went out climbing today. But I noticed my pinky, and I think it's because of my finger morphology, the way they're shaped. I tend to rest kind of the second pad of the pinky on an edge that I'm hanging, and depending on basically how that pad of skin felt made a large difference in terms of how much I could actually hang on the assessment. And that is one that I've felt like has been kind of playing a key role there. And then the final kind of takeaway here is, even though the assessment might not have shown it quite as much as I had hoped, I definitely felt a lot better at my contact strength felt a lot stronger. So when I'd throw for something pretty small, I'd be able to latch it. First go, didn't really need to readjust to actually get it right, and it felt like I could really pull through at that point. So anyway, it definitely worked. To what extent, is kind of up for the debate, but we'll go over some more of the macro level, how this fits into the plan as a whole and your climbing training in the this final sort of review of the plan. All right, so we'll do that next time, and then we'll move on to the next iteration and try something different. So thanks everybody for watching. See you next time.